Okay, so I am at work right now. I'm here alone. um, just going to do the demonstration of a vaginal exam. So when I do them here, I usually kind of explain what I'm going to do beforehand and ask if that's something that they're interested in. We don't necessarily require them at any stage. We suggest them highly for certain times, like post dates sometimes, or anyways, you know what I mean, like during labor and stuff like that. There's times that call for that or warrant a vaginal exam, and we'll explain kind of why we want to do it during labor. But usually for the first one particularly, because I think after that they kind of know what to expect, I'll just let them know that I'm going to leave the room and give them a drape, let them get undressed from the waist down, and they can cover themselves. And then when I come back in, I'll just let them know that I'm going to put gloves on and a little bit of lube. And that I'll insert 2 fingers into the vagina, and they may feel some pressure, and sometimes I might need to adjust their positioning of their hips if it's kind of hard to reach. But whenever I start the exam, I usually lift the drape just enough to where I can see where I need to go. I don't think I can turn my camera, so I'm just gonna like hold it. This is like our exam table, and this is actually a vagina. So, well, it's all of the organs, but so I lift the drape just enough to see where I need to go, and kind of I'll tell them that I'm gonna touch the inside of their thigh. You'll feel a little bit of cold jelly or, pressure. And then once I insert the fingers into the vagina, I'll go all the way back. And usually this is where I try to keep talking to them and rotating my fingers around until I find the cervix. And then once I do that, well, beforehand, I usually explain effacement, dilation, and station, but I can do that here. I can feel to find the cervix. This one's kind of small. And it doesn't stretch, obviously, it's plastic. And then be able to feel if the cervix is high, posterior, anterior, and explain kind of what that means. Once I get onto the cervix, I can tell them whether they're dilated or not, enough to show, and I can show that also when I come out of the vagina and let them know this is how much dilation there are. And then we have a chart here that we can show also kind of where they're at. Keep feeling around. Sometimes I have to like put my hand on their abdomen, but the whole time I try to maintain eye contact and talk to the person and let them know what I'm doing step by step. And I may say, like, you're 3 centimeters dilated, you feel like you're about 50% effaced, and the baby seems to be at like a -1 station. And then once I pull my hands out, I can show them dilation with my fingers, so like 3 centimeters, about like that. And then we also have these, like, I don't know, progress pictures here. And I like to show the difference because a lot of people don't understand the difference in effacement and dilation. I like to show these last two that, it shows a nice thick closed cervix right here. And then on this one, it shows a thinner cervix. It's not really open, but it is thin. And show them how that looks like it's about 50% effaced to this cervix. And also another thing that I do, and I find helpful, is to look at if we have an ultrasound, particularly a 3rd trimester ultrasound, but if we don't have that, because we don't do a ton of those, then I might just tell them that, on the anatomy ultrasound, it'll show us how long the cervix is, because everybody's cervix is different. So some people might have an 8 centimeter cervix where somebody else has like a 3. And that gives us a better idea of telling them what effacement that the baby is at. And then dilation, that's a pretty dead on measurement. And then with station, I feel like that's a little bit more subjective, but we do have a diagram of that somewhere too, where we can show, the -3, -2, -1, 0, and kind of explain how that works. And then also with the baby's position, obviously when we're doing an exam, be like, okay, that I definitely feel the head, you know, as soon as I went in, like I can feel the baby's head. And if possible, also tell them which position that I think the baby's in. I'm not really good at that yet, but my preceptor is really good at it. Obviously, she's had 40 years experience. But tell them which position the baby's facing and all of that. So I think I hit on pretty much everything. I think the main things is just really talking them through everything, explaining what you're going to do beforehand, maintaining eye contact, continuously talking to them, not being too fast because you're nervous, because I definitely felt like I did that in the beginning, where you just want to get in and get out and you don't feel like you know, because you don't want to stay in there too long because you're like, you know, this is really invasive and private. It's a very intimate thing. So, but you also don't want to go in and not get the information that you need. So that's another thing, like, you know, really being able, it really takes multitasking when you're trying to talk to someone and explain what you're doing, and then at the same time really visualizing what you're feeling. So yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks.